mamas, welcome back to another episode to the moms. I'm your host Amaris, and Kathy is out of commission this week. She's sick, so let's send her some well wishes, some healing wishes. Real quick, what are we doing to beat the common cold and like flu symptoms this winter? I think I want to start making some teas where there's like orange and like onions and garlic. I had seen someone make that type of tea, and I mean, while it probably doesn't taste good, it probably works. They say onions and garlics are like the best medicine you can have. So, what are you doing to beat the cold and flu symptoms? Because I sure do not want to get sick. I definitely don't want to handle stomach virus that's going around. So, if you are listening to this episode or know someone who's under the weather, just send them well wishes. But, anyways, in today's episode, I'm going to do an update of In My Son's World Part 4. And for those of you who are new here or are not caught up, I should say, In My Son's World is a series that we do on To the Moms podcast about my autistic son and our journey with him. So just giving updates to the listeners just to give them some hope or some ideas that they could probably do with their autistic individuals that are in their lives. So I'm just going to jump right ahead and get started. I think the last time we left off was August, where I decided not to do occupational therapy for him. And we're still at that. We're not doing any outpatient occupational therapy. I kind of know what I need to work with him, which is pre-writing skills, upper body strength, core. So some of the things that I'm doing at home to replace taking him to outpatient speech therapy, not speech, we're in that. Outpatient occupational therapy is doing some pre-writing skill activities at home. So before he gets his tablet, he needs to sign out his tablet, and he's signing his name, Thane. He knows how to spell his name. He knows how to write it. It's just not clear, and it's not small. Like, it's very much big. You can give him an 8 by 11 piece of paper, and he's taking up that entire page writing out his name. Now, he is getting occupational therapy in school. He gets it once a week for 20 minutes, and between the teacher and his occupational therapist, they're both working hand in hand to get him to write his name on a sentence strip, not have to write his name so huge and so big. Working on the letter E, he would do like an upside down E. And just recently, they had sent home a packet of how he's been writing his name, and his E is getting better. So simple things like that. Also, you have access to a computer, a printer, and this is kind of going up a notch, but a laminator. You can literally find anything online and find like connect the dots or anything to help with pre-writing skills. So we do some activities at home. We're not doing it every day because it is a challenge to do that every single day after he's coming home from school. But those are some of the things that I'm doing at home for pre-writing skills. As far as upper body strength and like core strength, we're doing like bear walks, animal walks. So you could Google this or even go on YouTube and search up like animal crawling or animal walks and or wheelbarrow. And what that is just getting him on his hands so that he's able to like bear crawl or crab walk. That gives upper body strength, and that also helps core. He is still W sitting, so just correcting that. Doing the bear crawls or or animal crawls can also help strengthen his core. So we're doing stuff like that. So that's as far as occupational therapy, because that's where we have left off. So now we're in the school year. He is in kindergarten, self-contained classroom, and I am happy to say he is in a great classroom. His teacher is phenomenal. I love that I get notes from school every single day of what he did, if he ate his food, followed directions, what they worked on, what they're learning. It is so nice to see. It is so nice to finally have a teacher that truly cares, because I think communication goes a long way. That's She's part of our team, right? You have all these doctors and these therapists that you interact on a weekly basis. It is nice to finally have a teacher to have the same mindset as you. So I personally love her. I think she's fantastic. She is amazing. When we went back to school night in September, for those of you, back to school night is the parents go to school, like after a couple of weeks, the children are in school and they go over like what your child has been working on in the classroom. It's not parent teacher conference. It's not like that at all. It's literally just a 20-minute presentation of what the teacher is doing and expectations, how you can get involved, how you can reach out to her if you have any questions. That's what like back to school night is. Kind of going a little ranty here, but we were the only ones in my son's classroom, like the only parents that attended. They had 2 different sessions and we were the only parents that attended. That is sad. I can understand we're so busy and work, and maybe you couldn't find a babysitter, but like that just really stinks. That really, really stinks that we were the only parents that like went. Although we honestly liked it because it kind of felt like we were getting almost like a parent teacher conference, because she couldn't talk about any other kid. She was able to talk about our child. And while it was great to have that one-on-one time, it also really sucks because you never want to be the reason why a teacher kind of lose their light, or their light is dimmed because they just feel like all the hard work they're putting into isn't appreciated or reciprocated by the parent. Because that's like the number one thing teachers have, is there's just parents who just don't care. So it really did suck that we were the only ones and no one else attended. So just to end that rant, just do better. Just do better. You'll understand why later on in the episode. Just do better. I know we're all busy. We all have a lot of things to do, but you just want to show these teachers you appreciate their hard work, and they are needed. But in that back to school night, she said that Finn is the only child in her, remember, the self-contained classroom. Finn is the only child in the self-contained classroom that is doing general education math. That makes me so proud. That just tells me my son understands like what's going on in the classroom, and he understands math. I think math is one of those like complicated subjects to teach, but the fact that my son's doing addition is amazing. The fact that he knows what a rhombus or a parallelogram, and he can say it without stuttering and everything. Parallelogram. You try to say that word and not stumble upon, because I stumble upon it all the time. He is doing reading comprehension skills, learning sight words. He knows his ABCs. What else? Oh, science. They're doing some science stuff like, oh, animals need water to survive. Animals need to eat some leaves or whatever the case is to like survive. So like that's nice. And I know just last week, so we're in January, just last week they started social studies, which is learning how to be a good community member. Something else that I can't remember off the top of my head, but he's doing really good this school year. So it makes me very happy just to see whatever he's learning in school, it's correlating back at home. So what I have done to increase those math skills, because if my son's going to be working in the tech world, I want those math skills to be polished and perfect. So again, going on Canva, going on the internet and finding worksheets that they can do, connecting the dots is like really good, because before they can start addition, from what his teacher told me, They need to know their numbers from 1 to 100, then count by twos, by fives, and I think by 10. So I remember there was one day my son was home and he was going 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Great job. And I'm like, huh, maybe he's just stimming. Maybe he's just focal stimming because he saw something on his tablet. No, he was remembering everything that happened in class, which makes me so happy. Along with this school year, my son is socializing. So I don't know if I ever shared this in previous episodes, but one of the things on his IEP is, or one of the concerns that they had brought up every parent teacher conference is he doesn't socialize. He doesn't make friends. He'd rather be by himself. And I'm 99% positive that's one of his IEP goals is to socialize. And not that I think I don't want to say dumb because that's not the word. That it's not, I personally didn't feel like it was needed to have on his IEP because IEP, in my eyes, should be academic. And while there are academic goals on his IEP, I just don't think socialization should be one of them. And hear me out. Pre-K and pre-K 4, they're all mixed. There's 3-year-olds that are coming right out of early intervention. Like they turn 3 and bam, they're in school. Or you have 4-year-olds, you have 5-year-olds. Like it's all mixed. It's not the same age group. And I've noticed my son doesn't like to hang out with younger kids. He sees that they're fragile and you need to be cautious with them. So he's like, eh. Dan was the only one that was 4 years old turning 5 in his classroom. You tell me if you're going to socialize with a bunch of 3-year-olds who have behavioral problems, who are hitting, who are throwing things. I would stay away from them too. So to have that in his IEP, I was like, whatever. But I'm proud to say now in kindergarten, because he is with peers that are like him. It's an autism support group. So everyone in that classroom has is autistic, I should say. Everyone in that classroom is autistic. So they're similar to him. They're his age group. Like a lot of kids there, all their birthdays are in June. So he's making friends. He's making friends not only in his classroom, but first and second grade. Because kindergarten, first and second grade, their classrooms are all connected. Like they're all in the same room. They all share a private recess area, like outdoor area, where they all go out at the same time. So not only is he interacting with children in his classroom, but he's interacting with children in first grade and second grade, along with the teachers and the parents that belong in that grade. So when he moves on to first grade, he's already going to know the teacher. He's going to already know the paras. He's already going to know. And I love that. During the back to school night, those 3 autism support self-contained teachers came together and did the presentation together. They worked so well, and you could tell the relationship is so well. It was almost like beautiful to see. Like that's in the perfect world. That is what you want. You want teachers to collaborate with one another, to work with one another, because you want to know that your child is safe. You want to know your child is getting the support that they need. And for the first time ever, I feel like my son is getting the support that he needs. And it's just amazing. He loves going to school, loves the school bus. And that's another thing. The bus driver and the bus aide, amazing. You could tell the people that are interacting with my son this school year love their job and love what they do. And that is a parent's dream, is sending their kids to school knowing that they are truly cared for and the people who are surrounded by him and by other students, they love doing what they're doing. So that's amazing. So my son's making friends. I love it. I love getting pictures when I see him pulling the other kids in the wagon, and the teacher will say that He takes turns with other students. Like, he's taking turns. He wasn't doing that before. He wasn't doing that before. And he's waiting his turn for certain activities and like going down the slide. I don't cry because like the next thing I'm about to say is like so amazing. He's doing so good socializing that when they're out in the playground, like all the kindergartens, the self-contained, inclusive, general education, when it's recess time for all levels of kindergarten, my son is playing with other kids in the other classroom. In the other classroom. And the teacher saw that quite a few times and saw his curiosity in looking into their classroom and seeing what they're doing, lining up with them when he saw them lining up. She went to the case manager and said, I think we need to start putting Thane 15 minutes a day or multiple times throughout the week, 15 minutes a day in the other classrooms, morning meeting class, just to give him that exposure because he has that interest. And he's doing amazing. He is doing amazing. All the kids in that classroom love him. And I think this is where the tears are going to come out. During parent-teacher conference, because this is where everything started happening with him going to the other classroom for 15 minutes. During parent-teacher conference, she said with a straight and confident face, Thana's not going to be in self-contained for a very long time. He's already showing interest that he understands the work. He's showing that he understands the work. He's showing interest in being with other kids and socializing with that group. Like, he is progressing so well that there are certain things she didn't plan on starting until January, but she was like, you know what? Let me see how Thane would do with this. And he is excelling. To hear those words, your son's not going to be in self-contained for a long time, is amazing. Because you do hear, horror stories like in a self-contained classroom, this and that. And like that's always my worry is what's going on in the classroom that I don't know about and I can't advocate for him. Just like last year, like I don't know what really went down in that classroom and I'm never going to know. So moving forward, we're going to make sure we know what's happening in that classroom. We're not going to get another letter, another phone call saying we're going to have to investigate. That's not going to happen anymore. I refuse to live days like that. So I'm just so proud that at some point he's not going to be in self-contained classroom because now I can probably inquire like, hi, why was my son crying in school or whatever the case is. I can inquire because it's a general education classroom with children who can't speak. And speaking of speaking, he is doing great with that. He has speech therapy in school twice a week along with group therapy. I think like once or twice a week. It kind of all depends on the speech therapist schedule because she just has to attend to like other children there. And when I say I love that I already know his speech therapist. I have met her before and worked with her before um, at his outpatient speech therapy. She was the one who evaluated him and suggested we're going to try to do an AAC evaluation. I think he has the skills to do it. She was the one who advocated for him to get an AAC device through the insurance that when I had spoke to the school about like what was happening outpatient speech therapy, everyone was able to work together to get that handled. And now my son has an AAC device that is paid for by the school. It's just so nice to see her like 2 or 3 years later and she's like, oh my gosh, he has progressed so much. I'm so excited to continue to work with him. This is amazing. It's just, I don't know. It's like this school year just feels so magical because of everything that's been happening, all the amazing people that my son is surrounded with. And it honestly warms my heart. It makes me feel so good that he's in a school that truly care about children who need the autism support. Like it's just really nice to see and be a part of. We saw their sensory room and It's amazing. They have like everything, every sensor you can think of. It's this huge room that only 3 kids are allowed. Anytime they need like a little break. So I know they said that thing they as a classroom. Do they all go together as a classroom? No, because that's a lot of kids. There's something that each kid have the opportunity to go in there daily, but some kids opt not to because they just don't want to. But if there are kids who need it more than others, they get that opportunity to get that quick break. Um, the My son's classroom and every other self-contained classroom or autism support classroom, they get to have recess 3 times a day because they need that break, they need that movement. And I just love how they all work together. Like they all purposely go out together so that the kids are interacting with different age groups, different levels of support. And it's just so beautiful to see. It's just so nice. What else happened? Oh, probably every parent's worst concern, not nightmare, just concern. My son's developmental pediatrician no longer works at the practice. A moment of silence because it's like, why? She was amazing too. I've only had sessions with her twice because that's all I need. I just need to see her twice a year and it stinks. Or do I have to see them? I think I have to see 3 or 4 times. I forget. Whatever. But it stinks that you found someone so great and they're like, after a year later, yeah, it's me. I just need some time to myself. She definitely was overworked. I can guarantee that. That's the vibes I got. The girl was overworked that she's probably going somewhere else or taking a break, whatever the case is. But now we were in a limbo. Do we stay with this practice? Do we go someplace else? There are long waits just to see a developmental pediatrician. We're going to stay in the practice. And instead of going back to our former developmental pediatrician, because I just rather not, I want to move forward in life. I'm not going to go backwards. We're now going to be seeing a pediatric neurologist. So yeah, I have my first appointment with that doctor, I think next month. And if I just feel like the vibes are off, then I don't know. I don't know if I would go to a different practice just because we're already in one. So why leave? He's also already um diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder. And I'm pretty sure at some point we have to get them like reevaluated just to see where they're at. He's autistic. Like that's not going to change. So, and I think a pediatric neurologist does it too. So it's kind of just like I might as well just stay with a neurologist. There's mixed reviews of this neurologist, but honestly, it can't be worse than what I had. It can't be so judgmental and so vague what I had. So I'm just going to stick with this new one. And there's other doctors there. You know, the previous developmental pediatrician did suggest someone, but she suggested it to all of her 90 clients, that all 90 clients, plus the clients that this other neurologist has. She's booked and busy. So I'm like, what's the point? I'm not gonna get someone who is out of their mind busy. I might as well just get someone that has the availability. Like it is what it is at this point. Um, and I'll just work my way through. Like I said, it's like literally it's either 2 or 3 times a year that I have to see them, and I just give them an update. They suggest and recommend things that I need to do. I don't have to do what they say. Like when I had to report that my son eloped from the home, she said if it happens again, I'm gonna have to recommend ABA. Just because you recommend ABA doesn't mean I have to do it. Like, what if I can't afford ABA and if the government can't help me because of like income based status, what am I supposed to do? Like, I don't think you can force a family to do anything, but I don't know, to each their own. So we'll see with that. I'll give you an update with that. Um, my son is still in outpatient speech therapy, and he just recently got the 6 month evaluation because they do evals every 6 months just to see where they are, if whether they met their goals. And my son has met his goals, which is amazing. It's so amazing to see like where he started 2 or 3 years ago. At this point, I kind of don't remember 2 or 3 years ago, and kind of see where his progress is. It is amazing. Can I have a full blown conversation with my son? Not yet. Will I get there? Absolutely. It just takes time and patience. Everything that I've learned with this autism journey with my son is it's during his time. It's not my time. It's not my time. It's his time. And you have to break things down little by little, kind of like the whole potty training that I did, where I broke it down into like phases, and then I broke it down into mini phases. Okay, you got to get him to be comfortable sitting on the toilet. What do you do? Well, there's a bunch of things that have to be done first. Let's break it down little by little. And that's what we're doing with like speech. We're just breaking it down little by little. He wants his tablet. At first, it was you need to answer 5 questions. What's your name? Where do you live? When's your birthday? How old are you? What's mommy's name? Like you just have to find something that motivates your child, and then you'll be able to work on all these activities. There are times that I'll just randomly go up to him and I'm like, what is your name? And he'll be like, and then he'll start to focus on. I'm like, no, no, no. What is your name? And if you kind of think about it, when we had ABA, that's what they will do. They'll just randomly say, like, what is your name? What is your name? So it's like, all right, well, if that's what ABA is, I could do that at home. I don't need to pay a $20 copay per session. And the insurance takes on the rest to like randomly go up to him, like, what is your name? Oh, nope, you gotta sit down and finish your food. So it's kind of just like you observe, you assess, and then you do it at the home. That's why I'm not an ABA, because I literally, for what the short amount of time they were here and I'm witnessing everything you're doing, I'm like, I could do it better. I would do things differently. I would suggest, like, I think I would have done it this way just to see, and it works. You just need to have patience and the time and the understanding that is on their time and not on your time. And I think that's all for like the updates. Some of the things I do want to work on with Thane is sleeping by himself, which his former pediatrician had given us a suggestion. It's called warm turkey. That's what she calls it. And it's pretty much for a couple of days, give him doses of melatonin and then kind of like decrease the dosage amount so that, he's not just depending on that. And then little by little, it's supposed to just put him to sleep by himself. And then at some point he's able to put him sleep on his own by himself. I don't know how I feel about that. Again, that's just something we're gonna have to work in phases. Do I want to give him melatonin? No. Do I want to give him a couple more months to understand that he needs to sleep by himself in his bed? Yes. That's another thing. Like, they have their own beds now. So we're still room sharing. And even though this room is so huge and it kind of looks like they have their own room, they still need help sleeping on their own and staying asleep. Like, just last night, Thane was up for an hour, maybe two, just filled with energy. But he wakes up happy. He can go back to sleep and wake up happy. So that's a work in process. So that's one thing I definitely want to work on with him. Because at some point, I would love to get some sleep. I get some sleep. I want to get some more sleep. I don't have to drink coffee every day or take some sort of like caffeinated beverage to like stay up. I definitely want his reading comprehension skills to increase, which his teacher did give me some ideas, and I really appreciate it. It's like a whole 6 bullet point list that I can do. So I'm going to start doing that. I want his name to be written clearer, But again, everything is baby steps. These are my probably top 3 goals for the year. Obviously, more is going to come. Some's going to be more of a priority than others, but for now, like that's my mommy goal for my kids, is to get them to be able to sleep through the night, put themselves to sleep, be able to write their names. But that's all the update I have today. I can't wait to see in a couple of months how his update will be and progress. So thank you so much for tuning in. Again, I'm your host, Amaris, and Kathy is sick, so send her well wishes. You can still find us on TikTok. I don't know whether we don't know what's happening with that, but we also have YouTube, Instagram. We're available wherever you get your podcast. Give us a follow. If you're listening to this and you only follow us on TikTok, give us a follow on Instagram. I think we're going to start posting more on there just because we don't know what's happening with TikTok. But again, thank you so much for tuning in. Happy Thursday. Hope everyone has a great weekend. See you next week. Bye.